Why, hello there. It's just me and the world's best tasting vodka.
Guys, what's happening? Another edition of Off The Dribble. I'm your host, Byron Scott. I got my boy here today. We've been talking some real shit before we even got on camera. And we're going to continue it the rest of the day. My boy, Aries Spears is in the house. Now, if you don't know, this brother's been on TV. A number of movies he's been in. The one that I loved the most was Jerry Maguire.
Show Me the Money.
I mean, Show Me the Money was one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. And he also does stand-up, and he's one of the best impersonators of voices that you'll ever hear. I still love my favorite.
Yeah.
My brother A, my favorite is still Denzel. When you do Denzel, that shit's off the chain. But again, welcome to the show, my brother.
Man.
Thank you for being here, man.
I just slapped hands with an NBA champion.
Now listen, before we get started,
Yes.
grab your glass because we always want to celebrate another show with good people. And again, big fan. So
Thank you,
this
sir.
is a pleasure for me.
Thank you, sir.
So, Aries, let's just start off right off the bat, man.
Yeah.
How did you get started? Not only in the music industry, I mean the movie industry,
yeah.
but how did you get started in stand-up as well? So give me both.
You know, I always, since I was a kid, had a thing for the cameras, man. I was always showing out, always trying to be funny in front of the friends and the family. So I kind of knew I always wanted to be famous, but I didn't know how I was going to go about it. So at first I thought I was going to be the next heavyweight champ till I figured out you got to be disciplined and work out and not eat pork every other day. And that just wasn't in me. You know, my mother's from Mississippi. My father's from Tennessee. Okay. Salt and grease was relevant in our house. We were the only family in the neighborhood to drink fried milk. So then I thought I was going to be fried milk. Then I thought I was going to be the next hot rapper.
Okay.
And I realized as much as I love rap, that's not in me. That's not in my DNA.
Okay.
But funny and entertaining was always in my DNA. So, you know, my father was a movie connoisseur. So he and I, from, you know, Let's Do It Again to Uptown Saturday Night to Miracle on 34th Street, we had a vast array of movies. And, you know, comedy, Mantan Moreland, Stephen Fedget, Pigmeat Markham, you know, Dolomite, old school.
Old school.
So I just grew up as a fan of the game. And of course, I was born in 75. I'm an 80s baby. So, yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Wait a minute, you were born in 75, but you was an 80s
I'm an 80s baby.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
I got you.
Yeah. So Richard Pryor was my dad's era. But of course, that was my introduction along with the other old school things into comedy.
Right.
And of course, Eddie Murphy was my education. You know, watching him on Saturday Night Live. So I had always just had a thing for being funny, and I was a latchkey kid, and I would watch TV, and I would impersonate commercials and things I saw in personalities from TV. So it just felt like by the time I realized I wasn't going to be the next or the first Jay-Z, I wasn't going to be the next heavyweight champ, comedy, man, that was my thing. So I started doing stand-up at 14 because I read that's when Eddie started. Okay. And both Eddie Murphy and I have the same birthday, same zodiac sign, both from New York.
Okay.
So I just took all that as inspiration and went, let me do this comedy thing, man.
So did you grow up in the Bronx?
Manhattan.
Or Manhattan. Okay.
West side of Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Eddie was your favorite. So
Eddie
he was the
dude,
he was the man that you looked up to growing up.
Yes.
What was it about? I mean, you see Eddie on Saturday Night Live, then you see him doing his stand-up as well. What was it that attracted you, besides the fact that you were funny? What was it that attracted you to Eddie Murphy, his style of comedy that you felt fit your style?
Well, I don't know. I won't say fit my style because if anything, I watched him and learned so much from him and wanted to emulate perfection. To me, he's the Michael Jordan of comedy. No weaknesses in his game. You know, brother can sing. I mean, he ain't Jamie Foxx singing, but he can sing. He can do stand-up.
Jamie can sing.
Right.
Jamie can
he's
sing.
funny in interviews. He's funny in television. He's funny in movies. And there's a lot of guys in comedy who don't necessarily translate to all of those things.
Right.
There are some guys who are great comedians, not the best actors.
Right.
There are guys who are great in terms of comedic acting ability, but may not be the greatest stand-ups. Eddie had no weaknesses. And between being a diehard Murphy fan and a Jordan fan, I just went, why not be the best?
Yeah.
You know, so I strive to be the best.
No, I feel you. So at 14 years old, you doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
When did you start doing movies?
Whenever Hollywood would let me. Sometimes I love it when people go, man, why don't you be in some more movies? Yeah, nigga. Yes, I do. You know, it ain't a choice. You know, it's if they let you in. So wherever I could get in, I would get in. But you know, I'm still trying to bang down these doors, man.
Yeah.
You know?
So was Jerry Maguire like the biggest movie that you were a part of?
Oh, yeah. And it was funny because when I first auditioned for that movie, you know, Cameron Crowe was the director. I auditioned for Cuba's part.
Right.
And he loved what I did, but he was like, I'm going to be honest with you, your name and your personality is not big enough for that role, but I loved what you did so much, I'm going to give you the part as the brother. So, and the funny thing is, what people don't know is that very ending scene when Cuba gets the contract that he finally wants
when he's talking
on the
to,
Roy Firestone show.
Roy Firestone,
And he goes off on a tangent, I love you, and blah, blah, blah. That was all my dialogue. I
you
did that
serious?
in the audition. I made all that up. So they used me, but they didn't use me. But they used me. It's a good problem to have. They stole my shit and gave it to Cuba, but at least they put me in the movie.
As he said, I love you. You're militant. But and you was like,
All
man. I love that movie.
I think it's one of the greatest sports movies that's really not a sports movie.
Right.
Because them hardcore sports movies like Blue Chips and Hoosiers and all the other ones you've seen, I don't know that they gravitate towards women. But you got the best in both with Jerry Maguire.
Right.
You got the sports, but you got the love story. So that was a full bag of chips, man.
Yeah. No, it was a great movie. And your part was fantastic. Cuba was good.
Yeah.
Our girl, it was
phenomenal, man.
Great
yeah.
movie. And it's funny because at the end of the movie, Lee Steinberg, who came on as an agent with Troy Aikman and everything, he was my agent.
Really?
For a year. He had migrated to basketball.
Right.
He had he had been an agent for football all these years. He wanted to get into basketball, so I was his first basketball client.
Really?
That he had, and then I kept him for a year. And when my contract was up, this is the crazy thing, Aries. My contract was up, and he wanted me to take the 1-year deal that the Lakers were offering me. And I told him, no, I'm not taking that. I said, plus, that's not enough money. And I said, you know what? I'll play it out.
Right.
You know, and he was like, well, if you get hurt, blah, blah, blah. He only lasted a year. So I ended up saying, I'm going to play the contract out, played it out, had an unbelievable season, won the championship, signed a 5-year deal for $5-point-something million.
So you had like a Jerry Maguire experience.
I had a Jerry Maguire moment.
Yeah.
Right, exactly that same thing. And then I said, you know what, you're no longer leading as my agent.
Speaking of weird connections, I was talking to, before we got the cameras rolling, talking to brother Scott here, and I was telling him, you know, when I first came to LA, because, you know, before I moved here, I had to choose between 3 managers, Russell Simmons, this lady out of Pennsylvania whose daughter was on the show, Give Me a Break, and I forget who the third person was, but, Barry Katz, Dave Chappelle's first manager. And then I got a call from a guy by the name of Norm Nixon. The only thing I knew about Norm was he was Debbie Allen's husband.
Right.
I didn't really know the history on Norm. So he flew me out to LA. I'm staying at his house. He's showing me all the old tapes. And, you know, I was like, man, this guy got some game.
Yeah, Norm was a bad boy.
Yeah, Norm was a bad boy. So I said I had to bring that up to you because it was like, yeah, man, my first manager was Norm Nixon. And I remember he gave me an autographed jersey where he said, to the baddest comic alive, Norm Nixon. And I kid you not, that jersey looked like it fit an 8-year-old.
I remember you just told me, you was like, yeah, it was about that big.
Yeah, it was
like,
what
really?
Dawn Lewis looked like she would have wore. Yeah. But yeah, man, and coming up, you know, having Norm as my manager, because it was the introduction for me into the sports world.
Right.
And I remember the one time, or I actually saw him play 3 times, but one of the first times I saw Jordan is when they came and played the Clippers. And we went back in the locker room, and I'm this close to Scottie Pippen. I'm right here near Dennis Rodman. And, of course, I wanted to meet Mike.
Right.
But the sea of reporters around him was so thick, I could only hear his voice.
Right.
I couldn't even see him. But through Norm, man, I got to meet a lot of great sports people, man. So, you know, forever grateful for that, man.
Yeah. So what is next as far as being a comedian? Because, I mean, you've done that.
Right.
You've done that for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? And you've been very successful at it.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue on that trend, or do you want to, like we talked about earlier, do you want to get into the movies and we just need those calls to start coming in?
Well, we need the calls to start coming in, but we also need to possibly try to change some perception. Because, you know, I've always been a very aloof type dude, and more on top of that, a very vocal dude. And when you're very vocal, at times aloof, black, male,
that in there,
and you say some of the things I say, whether it's good or bad, or whether you perceive it to be good or bad, or whether you like it or not, you know, I stand firm to this badge called comedy. I stand true to this oath called humor. So when you interview me, you know, I don't give a damn what you ask me. If you throw me a lob, I'm gonna dunk that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Hence, you know, what I said about Lizzo.
Right.
Do I regret saying some of the things I've said? You know, there's a time and a place. But again, what this forum is, what we're doing, it's an interview, but it's still entertainment.
Right.
So as a comedian, I'm still supposed to entertain. And entertainment is subjective. So again, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, I'm like Charles Barkley. I'm going to say whatever the hell I'm going to say. People like it, they dislike it. I don't give a damn. You know? I'm going to say what I'm going to say, man. I live by that credo.
Let me just ask you this, too. How many NBA players impersonations can you do? I'm just don't start doing it, but I just want to know how many, just off the top of your head, how many you think?
You know, Shaq, Barkley, Joel Embiid. I think everybody does them a tumble. All you gotta do is sound like you've been eating lit cigarettes. The Kembe me tumble. You know, and I would love to do Michael Jordan, but I noticed with Michael Jordan is certain things that he says, like, you know, City of Chicago, you know, play the game. You know, there's a rhythm in how he talks, but I don't really have the voice.
You don't got it yet?
I don't have the voice nailed down yet, but, you know, guys like Shaq is just always easy, because I always tell people impressions is like music, having an ear for tone, inflection, rhythm. So if you can hit in music a note, then you're hitting the key.
Right.
So, you know, with certain people, depending on where the note is, the tone, that lets you know if you in pocket or not. You know, like Shaq is breathy. So everything is going to be low and today. And I got to give my man Shaq some love, because he was recently on Drink Champs. And they said, yo, out of all the people that impersonate you, Afion,
he
Jay,
said that, yes.
Who does? And he was like, Aries, hands down.
Yes,
Aries.
I remember hearing that,
So, you know, for whatever that's worth,
yeah.
that I like that.
Diesel, we appreciate you, brother. You know that. Matter of fact, I got to get you on the podcast, too. You do know that.
Since we here, though.
Yeah, I'm looking for you, Diesel. But since we here.
Shaq is here.
Since we're here, Shaq, how was your game tonight? And if there was anything that you did tonight that you didn't like, or you could change, what would that be?
I just gotta play. You know, everybody know from the free throw line, I gotta make the free throws. But you're on the big dog. As long as you feed me in the paint, especially when you got a smaller man on you, barbecue chicken. You know, if I get 28-10, I'm gonna dominate. Everybody know you get 28-10, you're supposed to dominate. Anything less than that, then I ain't gonna really dominate the ball. But you know, as long as I get the ball on that side, and when guys double me, I kick out to my guys, Pretty Ricky, B. Shaw, D. Fish. You know, I call them the others. If the others do what they're gonna do, and I'm gonna dominate, we'll be fine.
Well, Shaq, let me ask you one more question, because, you know, I played with you for 1 year, you and the late, great Kobe, and you used to always tell me that you always made the free throws when they, you know, when you needed to. And I used to always tell you, well, shit, they always count. You need every one of them, but what was your logic about making free throws when the game is on the line?
You know, my great father, Aries, Sergeant Aries, he always told me when time is on the line and you got to step up, you got to step up. So anytime I knew it was important in a playoff game or we need to win a series, I always step up. Everybody talk about I don't make the free throws, I made them when they count.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, Aries, growing up, dog,
Yeah.
I know you had to play sports. You know,
I tried.
I know you had to try.
I tried, man.
So what was your favorite ones? I know you probably played a few of them, but what was your favorite ones?
You know, I wish to God I could play basketball, because I'm a great trash talker. Being a comedian, like I got Gary Payton trash talk skills,
But not Gary
my
Payton
game
game, huh?
is garbage. Nigga. Let me tell you something. The one place where I let my race down is basketball and the size of my dick. I am the first brother to fuck up the rumor. I'm telling you, I'm a disappointment, man, and it hurts.
You're gonna make me choke on my wine, man.
My dick is as big as Gary Coleman's arm.
All right, let's go. Okay. So basketball is a game that you wanted to play.
I wish to God I
but
could,
you just
man.
couldn't
I
play it
couldn't
out.
do it. You know what? I think if I was going to do it, I should have started in my youth.
Yeah.
And I really didn't develop a love for basketball until, like, you know, the 90s.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
when Jordan popped.
Yeah.
So by that time, I was in my teens. So
And
it was just too late. It was too late.
Yeah, and MJ was a monster. Ain't
Yeah,
no
my
doubt about it.
jump shot looks like a cross between Bill Cartwright and Sean Marion.
Okay, so if y'all don't know what that looked like, Bill Cartwright used to tap his way up
Right,
here,
right.
and Sean Marion used to shoot it from right here. Just so you know, so if you
Mix
if you
those
wanna-
two.
yeah, mix those two together and go check it out, and you'll get a pretty good idea
Right.
of what we're talking about. Now I'm gonna get to something a little bit more serious because
Yeah.
Aries and I was talking about this off camera, and we both had, I think, unique perspectives
Right.
of this. And you've been married.
Twice to the same woman.
Twice to the same woman. And I've been married and divorced and remarried and my wife to this day right now, Cecilia Gutierrez Scott, is unbelievable. It's my soulmate.
Is she Spanish?
She's Filipino.
Okay, because I heard Gutierrez. I thought
Yeah,
that was,
that's what I thought. You know,
Oh,
when
okay.
I first met her and she said her name to me, I said,
right.
You Spanish, Mexican?
Right.
She's like, no, I'm Filipino. I said, oh. And then I ended up finding out
Right.
how they got the name Gutierrez in the Philippines. But anyway, she's Filipino, my soulmate, best thing that ever happened to me. Right, but we were talking about things when we were married, and I know my first marriage when I got divorced is because the woman I was with at that particular time wasn't doing the things that I needed her to do. And we both had some interesting perspectives of this.
Right.
And kind of tell us your perspective of this. 'Cause this is interesting.
Well, you know, I had been off and on with my baby mother. I got two baby mothers. My first baby mother for like over 22 years. And I think that sometimes women get to a place where they get comfortable. And, you know, my whole thing was this, you know, and you said that you're a very humble guy. You never forget where you came from. You know, you grew up in the hood. You got very humble beginnings, and you hold on to that. And that's beautiful. But at the same time, and it's not to say that you feel that you're better than anybody else, but you're special. You are different in a unique way. And I think that sometimes women lose perspective of that when they fucking with a human lotto ticket. You know what I'm saying? And one of my favorite shows was The Sopranos. And there was an episode where Tony Soprano was talking to his dad's mistress. And she said the job of a woman when dating a powerful man is to make him feel powerful. Now, that's not to say, you know, treat him like he's God Almighty. Yes, and when that's your husband or you're a father to your kids, they're not supposed to see you as the celebrity. They're supposed to see you as daddy.
Right.
Your girl, your wife is supposed to see you as that brother who walks around with possibly shitty drawers on. But still, you walking around with shitty drawers in a mansion.
Right.
With a Bentley and a Maybach out front.
Right.
You're flying overseas in private jets and you're eating lobster and steak. So just keep that in perspective. And while your job as a man is to act accordingly and make her feel like a queen and take care of her job is to reciprocate.
Right.
But again, just remember, yes, I'm humble. Yes, I remember where I came from. Yes, I'm groundly rooted in being real. But I'm also that guy too. And you got to feed a man's ego a little bit, especially when he's a powerful man. You're not just fucking with a regular dude. You know what I mean?
Now, when we had this talk, I was like, you know what?
Hey, I'm going to take my sweatshirt off because I'm
Yeah,
getting hot.
go ahead. You're getting hot in this.
I'm getting hot.
I said that, Aries and I was talking about this, and I was like, you know what? You're right, because there was a 3 or 4 year period in the 80s.
Right.
My first 3 or 4 years where I got to the point where I was playing, just as well or better than every two guard in the league. And I thought the only guy that was better than me was Michael Jordan.
Right.
at that position.
As you should.
You know, and I felt that good about, you know, I'm averaging 20 points a game, 4 or 5 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists, couple of steals. I'm on the team that's winning every single night with Magic, Kareem, James, Cooper, all our guys.
Right.
And we're vying for a championship every single night. And I'm having all-star caliber numbers. So
Right.
I only felt one guy was better than me.
Right.
So when we were talking about this, it hit me that, you know what, I was like, you're right. I'm humble, but I'm also a competitor.
And women should never lose sight of the fact that it's this. Look, and if you're a power player man like a Jay-Z, and your partner is a power player woman like Beyonce,
yeah.
and y'all form a conglomerate,
Right.
well, now the rules are different.
Right.
But if I'm Dominique and you Spud Webb, recognize who the franchise is. Yeah, you bring some weight, but come on now.
I bring more weight.
You know what I mean? And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if a woman gets so comfortable that she forgets who she is, who she's with, and her surroundings, and what you have the ability to do and give her and change her life, let her know, listen, there's about 5 bitches on the bench that are waiting for your starting spot. So if you want to be uncoachable, that's fine.
That's fine to be taken, right?
But I would rather have a talent that's less talented but coachable than a star talent that's not coachable. You know what I mean? Give me a solid.
I feel you.
Give me a solid D Fish over a arrogant Allen Iverson. D Fish gonna call the plays I tell him call.
And D Fish got 5 championships.
How many Allen got?
None.
All right, and that's no
Okay.
slight to Allen.
No,
but
not-
I'm just
none
saying.
whatsoever. Right.
I'm
I
just
feel you.
saying. Sometimes coachable and less talent is better than superior talent and non-coachable. You know, I was telling Byron, one of my favorite comics, God rest his soul, Patrice O'Neal, one of the legends. He had said something that was so true, to put that in perspective, where he was talking about when LeBron James was on doing a press conference when he was on Miami. And, you know, he was going through that rough patch because of the way he left Cleveland. So he was a villain. Everybody's booing him.
Absolutely.
So he had a really bad game, and one of the reporters asked him, LeBron, you think you're better than everybody else? And LeBron gave the politically correct answer, and Patrice was like, I wish LeBron would have just took a second, paused, took a deep breath, looked up at the sky, and then went, yup. I'm rich, I'm handsome, I'm in shape, and my dick is as big as a rowboat. And sometimes those are the answers you want to give, because it's the truth.
It's the truth.
But
yeah.
you got to you got to stay humble. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and even with the fine, he's LeBron James.
Yeah.
He ain't getting canceled. He ain't losing endorsement deals. He'll probably get a deal to sponsor
probably-
rowboats.
Right, or Viagra.
Right. Right.
And you're right. At that time,
Right.
in Miami, there was no doubt.
Yeah.
Best player in the NBA.
Yes.
By far.
Yes.
It was no doubt.
Yes.
You know. But I remember that because he was really trying to find his way, you know, with D Wade. He didn't want to
Yeah.
step on D Wade's toes because
Right.
D Wade was Miami.
Yes.
And I think
Wade County.
Yeah. And D Wade, you got to give him a lot of credit too, because if a lot of people probably don't remember this or even know this, D Wade told LeBron, "This is your team."
He gave him the reins.
He gave him the reins, and that's
Right.
when LeBron just took over, and
Right.
you know they end up winning two NBA championships. Let me ask
So
you
I had
this.
I'm wondering if you're going where I think you're going, because I'm going to ask you.
No,
and I already know
go
your
ahead.
answer.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
MJ or LeBron?
MJ.
Okay. Let me say something real quick. And I get so passionate about this. And I go to war with these people on Instagram. Let me paint the picture. Scarface balcony scene, end of the movie. I'm
Yes.
Tony Montana shooting 1,000 Colombians when it comes to
Yes.
this LeBron Jordan debate.
Yes. Yes.
And I've always said, and people think I hate on LeBron because I'm so passionate about this. He is one of the greatest players ever.
Without a
no doubt.
Without a doubt.
But at the end of the day, I'm 47. I saw Jordan in his prime. I saw Kobe in his prime. I'm seeing LeBron through his journey from the gut and the eye test, let alone the stats. No way. No way. And I know these young kids love to do this, which I think is so overblown. Bigger, stronger, faster. But do rest management nowadays. Bigger, stronger, faster. But form teams like the Avengers nowadays. bigger, stronger, faster. But wear goggles when you win championships because you can't handle champagne skeet. What about this bigger, stronger, faster thing? And quite frankly, I'm looking at these athletes today and going, what are they showing me I haven't seen already?
Right.
In terms of dunks,
Right.
Sean Kemp, Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins. What are you showing? As far as ball handling ability and passing, Pete Maravich, Magic Johnson, what are y'all showing me? Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll give them is these threes. Shooting from the locker room.
Right.
But other than that, what are you showing me that I have not seen before? And at the end of the day, and let's put this in perspective, and I don't understand how people don't understand this, but like a mother that's got to cut up a child's meat for them to eat, let me explain this to you. So if it's about rings, Bill Russell, 11. If it's about rings, Robert Horry, 7.
Yeah.
No, people, there's a word called totality. Mm-hmm. And when you make the ingredient for GOAT recipe, it's about the totality. Mm-hmm. Those guys, Russell, Horry, I'm not going to count Horry in that, but you know who I'm talking about, the people that they call the best. They check the boxes in some of those categories. Mm-hmm. Mike checked the boxes in all of them, in totality. And think about this. There's a difference between being the reason you win and winning for a reason. Mm-hmm. Robert Horry, 7 rings, right place, right time. Now you need a Robert Horry. Those, as Shaq would say, are the others.
Absolutely.
So you need the role players,
Absolutely.
but don't get it twisted. Shaq, Magic, Bird, Kobe, Hakeem Olajuwon, they're the reasons that teams won. Mm-hmm. Robert Horry won for a reason. Right place, right time. How you don't understand that?
I like that. I mean, I haven't heard it put that way, but I like that.
Yeah, and then again, I say as far as the championships go, how do you just sweep under the rug like it's no big deal? 2 3-peats, never lost in the finals. Was it 6 finals MVPs? 6 championships, never lost. And people go, well, LeBron's been there 10 times. Okay, but he only won, 4? Let me put it to you like this. Fellas, and this is a very important question. Choose wisely. What would you rather have? A big dick that works sometimes 4 and 6, or an average dick that works all the time 6 and 0?
Okay, so on that point, we're going to be back with myself off the Dribble podcast with your boy B. Scott, my boy Aries. Aries is crazy as hell. Aries Spears. We're going to be back with a little bit more after this break on the Off The Dribble podcast with Byron Scott. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, to another edition of Off The Dribble with your boy Byron Scott. I'm here with my boy Aries Spears. This brother is funny as hell. We've been having a ball.
Yes, sir.
And I've been a fan of this brother for a long time, watching his stand-up, watching him on movies. Just a joy to be around, brother.
I love it, man. I love it.
Just love talking to you. I do want to ask you, there's a lot of comedians out today. Who are some of your favorite guys that you like watching?
Oh, Dave Chappelle is the king.
Oh, yeah, Davis.
Dave is the master. He is the master. He's our generation's Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, if you don't know, I know all the hardcore comedy fans know that brother who I was saying. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know, Patrice O'Neal was a monster, juggernaut. Bill Burr is another great one. I'm still a diehard fan of Tommy Davidson. His energy is so explosive.
Yeah.
And before Tommy gets on stage, he treats it like it's the first time.
Yeah.
You know, he's just got this nervous, dynamite energy that's hard to compete with. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the guys who I just think are phenomenal, man.
Yeah, I love Bill Blair as well. I love
Bill Burr,
Bill Burr.
yeah.
I mean, watching him, man, he's funny as hell. Tommy Davidson, I've known Tommy for a long time.
Yeah, Tommy's a wild boy, man.
Tommy's off the chain. But you're right, Dave Chappelle right now.
Oh, his mind is so
it's unbelievable
brilliant
to listen to him.
Yes.
And like you said, from an educational standpoint,
yes,
he is up to date on everything that's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he can bring it to a point where even if it's serious, he brings it to a point where it can be funny.
And that's, to me, is where his genius lies. Is
Yeah.
because when you talk about topics that most people would run for cover from, the LGBTQ
Yes,
community,
yes.
transgenders, abortion, certain aspects of race, politics. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when you got a black belt in those subjects,
Yeah.
you got to give it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What subjects, and I pretty much kind of know the answer to this, what subjects do you try to stay away from when you're on stage? None. I was like, none.
There's a wink because
I already knew.
there's one I should have stayed away from, but I can't get into that.
I already know the answer, but
Yeah.
let me ask the question.
Listen,
because-
again, what I said earlier, as Carlin said, so if you know where the line is, you're supposed to cross it.
Yeah.
As Dave Chappelle said, you don't know where the line is until you cross it. Patrice O'Neal, 50% of the audience should be laughing, 50% horrified. and I don't make
like
it
that.
Yeah, I don't make it a thing, an agenda to go out and go, I'm trying to be shocking for the sake of being shocking.
Right.
No, because then that's, that means you really don't
That's
have
fake.
anything of substance.
Yeah, that's fake,
You
though.
know,
Yeah.
but comedically, when you are grounded in substance and the ability to write witty, intelligent humor, strong cocaine-based humor, if you can do all that other shit, that's just extras.
Right,
It's
right.
like if you're a chef and you make the greatest meal, all that parsley and the garnish around the dish, that's just the finishing touches.
right.
It don't matter about the garnishes. If the main meal ain't shit,
good, then it don't
matter, man.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? So, yeah, man, I listen, and Dave Chappelle is a guy who I look at and strive to emulate in that way. I know I don't, and I know I can't, but, I think I'm at times I hit the mark.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
as
oh,
far
yeah.
as being able to do it as consistently as he does, nobody's fucking with him, man.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with this now. Well, first of all, before I hit you with some of these impressions that I want to hear,
Oh,
let me find out some other stuff. I mean, what other things does Aries Spears like to do in his downtime? What are some of your other hobbies?
I'm a video game head, man.
Is that right?
So I be on that Madden and that 2K, and some of that Call of Duty and God of War.
Really?
Yeah, man. I
can't do none of that.
Yeah, but listen, you come from an older generation a little bit.
Oh, man,
and people older than
I
me.
played Nintendo. That was
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
you got all this shit. Now I'm like, nah,
But
I
I
can't
would be,
fuck with this.
you know what? It's crazy. I feel like if I was a professional NBA player, I would, maybe this is ego, I would want to play it because I know I'm in the game.
Right.
Like I sit by sometimes, and what's great about 2K is, once upon a time ago, they only released the current teams.
Right,
But I
right.
think since 2012, they brought back all the classics.
Right.
So you could play with, Kareem, Magic, you,
Right, right.
Cooper,
MJ and
MJ
yeah,
and all.
yeah, yeah.
And I'll be playing these, and sometimes I'll be going, that motherfucker wasn't that nice. Some of it's pretty accurate, but some of it you just go, what? So I would just be curious to play to see if you would go, man, I'm better than that. Or, "No, I didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Never played.
Yeah.
John Madden or what? Not John Madden because that was football, but the basketball one.
Right.
I've never played none
You know
of
what's trippy though? Is they really have everybody's release. Like the way you shoot the ball
them. Right,
for real,
right,
you shoot it like that in the game. So if you know Marion's release and timing,
Right.
if you know the timing for Kareem's hook,
right.
it's crazy. You can nail it. It's crazy,
Wow.
man.
I've seen highlights, and I've had kids,
Right.
and young adults come to me and say, "I play you in 2K, boy. You be lighting up threes."
Man, I'm telling you.
I'm like,
that's
what?
why it's
Yeah,
mind
you be
blowing.
on fire. I was
Dude,
like,
I'm telling you, if you know the teams and you go, I'm a fan of this team, and you've seen the games, it's second nature. You just go, you kick it out to Byron, you know his release, the timing, and it goes in. That's mind blowing how they got that.
Look, I don't know, guys, because I ain't never played those games, but having fans come up to me and say,
yeah.
that you, man, I play with you on this game all the time,
Yeah.
and you be lighting it up. I was like, really?
Yeah, man.
Okay, trips me out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I want to get to what I think. Besides you on stage doing your doing your stand up, I want to get to the part where I think you do one of the best jobs I've ever seen of impersonation.
Right.
All right. So I'm gonna throw out a name, and I want you to give. We already heard Shaq. Okay. And I want you to give me that impersonation.
Okay.
Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers.
You know, I gotta play better with the ball. You know, Shaquille O'Neal, you know, Charles Barkley, they tell me I gotta get in the post. I know I can shoot the jumper, but you know, I gotta dominate the ball, especially for the fans in Philly.
He sounds a little mentally slow.
He do. All right. Outside of basketball, Tony Soprano.
You know, the thing about basketball, when we're down at the bottom wing, all of my guys, Pushy, Shell, Christopher, we love all the games. We know all the legends. Byron Scott, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan. I love when he sticks the tongue out. It reminds me when I'm eating pussy.
All right. I got a few more. One of my favorites, I heard you when I was looking at social media, when I fell in love with you, I was like, okay, I got Jay-Z.
And I ain't animated like, say, a Busta Rhymes, but the real shit you get when you break down my lines. Had that to the fact of when played a bunch of times that, but my influence on pop culture. I'm supposed to be number one on everybody's list. We'll see what happens when I no longer exist.
I love it. Okay. All right, another one of my favorite rappers. DMX.
Your dog is crazy. You know, when the people show you who they are, it's really who they are. You know what I mean? When I pray to the Lord, then I'm going to get that rock. I'm wicked with the bullshit, like a jump shot. You can't see me, because I'm going to put it in your face. When I dunk that shit, I'm going to put it in your face. Uh-huh.
All right. This one right here was one of my favorites. You know who I'm talking about.
I know.
Every woman loves him. You know, every man admires him. The man, Denzel Washington.
All right. Hey, what are we talking about, huh? All right. Every time you do Denzel, all right, you got to do the stroke mouth. That's what happens when I get dramatic in the scene. I do the stroke mouth. You know, you take it down right here. Everybody knows what you're talking about. Huh? All right, my nigga. Dude, I gotta tell you, man, and I always get his brother props. I had to retire Denzel, man. I know you don't know this dude. You might not know this dude. He's not really known like of all the guys that do Denzel, Godfrey, Jay Farrow, myself,
yeah.
Dean Edwards, brother out of Chicago, Reggie Reg. There's a dude on Instagram named C King.
C King?
C King.
Okay.
Tag him, IAM _C_ KING. He does Denzel like Frank Caliendo does John Madden. He puts all of us to bed.
No.
He is
You bullshit.
no.
You bullshit.
Byron, I'm telling you.
C_King.
I am C_King. This dude made me have a funeral for my Denzel. Boys to Men was singing. It was over. This brother is the truth. He makes all of us look like amateurs.
Really?
He's cold. He's ice cold. Ice cold.
And where's he?
He's out of New York.
Out of New York.
Out of Brooklyn. Yeah.
And he's
Brother,
that good.
He's ice cold, man.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
I feel stupid doing it. when he's around, I tuck my Denzel in like a small rope chain because here come, Shaq with the big platinum Turkish cable with all the ice. Nah, man. Nah. This brother's cold, man. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And now, Aries, I know you've been a basketball fan for a long time.
Yeah.
Besides MJ, who are some of the other favorite players that you loved back in the day?
Of course, Shaq. The dominance of Shaq was just bananas.
Yeah.
Vince Carter, Magic, Kareem. I like a lot of the old school dudes, man.
Yeah, I see, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Some of these new dudes are cool, but they seem so injury prone.
Yeah.
I say, those old school
They're a
players.
little softer than we were back in the day.
Yeah, it felt like back in the day,
Yeah.
The old school players was like them. Our daddies and our uncles and our grandfathers' Cadillacs. It was made with real steel and metal. These guys today, they have all the bells and whistles, but they made of fiberglass. Yeah. You bump a shopping cart into one of these dudes and they hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just the drama of it all doesn't feel the same to me.
Yeah,
when Michael and them dudes played, it felt like, that still to this day. That NBC jingle.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's right. It's NBC.
jingle.
Yeah, that means the shit was about to go down. Yes, yes.
So, and listen, again, I like LeBron.
Yeah.
And I watch LeBron. But I just feel like when LeBron leaves, who's the next big dude?
Yeah.
Maybe Zion, if he can stay injury-free. But who's the next big dude?
I think right now the NBA is having a identity crisis with who's going to take over when LeBron leaves. You know what I'm saying? Because LeBron has been such a figure and a very positive role model, for a lot of young players, in the game today. I mean, that look up to LeBron.
Right.
And he's gotten to the point where he's been, a lot more outspoken on topics that don't deal with basketball, on the political, aspect of it, which I think has been great for the NBA. But who is that next guy? Right. And that's a great question, because I don't know who that is right now. And it's going to be interesting to see, because the NBA has always been about, well, I won't say always, because it used to be about all about the team. Now it's all about, really, grabbing individuals, and making them bigger than life, so to speak, to be the next guy to kind of, carry the torch. You had Bird and Magic carry it. You had Kareem carrying it before them, then Bird and Magic, then you had MJ carry it, then you had Kobe and Shaq, guys like that carry it, and then you got LeBron. I don't know who's next in that next class of NBA players.
Well, let me ask you this from a basketball standpoint, and I know Bill Burr, talking about great comics, he did a big bit on it recently on one of his Netflix specials, and I know I've joked about it sometimes, and I know that's been talked about on social media. As far as your assessment on the WNBA players feeling like they don't get what the men get in terms of pay, are we wrong in saying that it's because y'all don't put asses in the seats the way the men do? Yeah. And if it's not personal, it's not sexist, it's business. Because the product is just not as good as the male product. And obviously I would attribute some of that to physical limitations. Yeah. Because I always used to ask myself, who's the female version of Jordan? Who's the female version of Shaq? Allen Iverson? Magic, there from the passing ability. Version. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there is no female
and again, not trying to shit on the women, but there's only so many exciting chest passes and bounce passes and layups and jump shots that we could watch.
Right.
Where's the crossovers and breaking ankles? The alley-oop dunks, the put-back dunks, the no-look passes. It's just not the same excitement level.
Right. No, and I get what you're saying, and I'm a big fan of WNBA, because you do got some amazing women out there that can play the game of basketball. But like you said, the number one thing is when they're complaining about not getting paid like the men, well, you're right. You don't put asses in the seats like the men.
Right.
So you're not going to get paid like the men. Let's just be straight.
So it's not a sexist thing.
It's not a sexist thing. It's all about business.
Right.
If you are in the WNBA and you averaging 18, 19,000 a game, okay, now you're going to get paid.
Right.
But when you're averaging 5, 4, 6,000 a game, you can't compare the two.
Right.
Plus the fact that the NBA has been around a lot longer. It's been much more established, but you got incredible athletes. People come to the games to see shit that they can't imagine ever doing.
Right.
I can go to a WNBA game and sit there and say, I can do all that.
Right.
You know what I mean? As an ex-NBA player, I can sit there and say, I can do all that, that they do. So as an average fan that goes to a WNBA game, they can relate a little bit more to them, where they cannot relate to guys in the NBA. They can't relate to what some of the shit LeBron does. Or the Greek, the freak Greek, what he does, or Embiid at 7'1" who's shooting threes and then also taking you on the post, dunking over you.
Right.
They can't relate to that stuff, So for them, it's much more phenomenal to go to an NBA game to see something on a night-to-night basis that they can never imagining doing, than it is for them to go to a WNBA game where they can sit there and say, "Well, I can make that chest pass, I can shoot that 3-pointer." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or I can do a drop step in the post, or I can make a crossover pull-up dribble. It's just a different level. And I think the women have to understand that, you know what? You guys have done a hell of a job of promoting the WNBA for 25 years, and it's going to continue to get better. but you will never be on that level where you're gonna get paid the same as the or same as the NBA. NBA is always gonna be up here. Maybe you can close the gap a little bit, but it's all about putting asses in the seats.
And then to me, also as a fan, it's not just about the physical play; it's the off the court personalities.
Yeah.
Shaq is a soundbite.
Oh my God.
Barkley is a soundbite. I always tell people, listen, man. Sometimes for me, inside the NBA on TNT, it's better than the game.
Better than the game, yeah. It's funny as
that
shit.
dynamic between Charles, Ernie, and Shaq.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Because Charles and Shaq always going at
Right.
it. They always going at it. So something's gonna happen between them two. And they're gonna be going at each other. So like you said, watching the halftime or the pregame and the halftime and the posttime is better than the game most of the time.
Yeah. And if he could sound a little bit like he's not choking on something, I think Dennis Rodman would be a great personality,
I think Dennis would be great. I think he would be phenomenal on TV.
I was so excited that I actually won something in the NBA. They said, you want to come play for the great Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson? I said, I don't give a damn. I don't care what's up. I was about to actually win something in the NBA. You're going to give me a damn lollipop. So I didn't care.
Dennis, I didn't understand the word you just said, but I'm with you. But you know what? A lot of people don't understand this about Dennis Rodman. I've done a couple of signings with Dennis Rodman. Matter of fact, it was B. Dennis and D. Fisher.
Right. You just reminded me of something.
In Anaheim, we did some signings together. A lot of people don't realize the thing about Dennis Rodman. A lot of his shit that he did back in the day was very thought out.
Oh yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Pre-planned, calculated.
Pre-planned, calculated. Dennis is extremely intelligent person.
Yeah.
Married himself, doing the shit with Madonna, all that shit.
Right.
People was like, oh, that boy crazy. No, Dennis wasn't crazy. Dennis very. I sit there and talk to Dennis for 2 hours while we signing shit, and I was like, this boy ain't crazy. This boy smart as hell.
Yeah.
I can't do that shit, because I'm not. That's just not me.
Right.
But I got to give him props, and I loved him for that.
Let me tell you, dude. I'm such I bored a Jordan groupie. I'm such a fan. But between Jordan and the Bulls, I remember I did a gig in Schaumburg, Illinois. I'm flying back home. I'm at Chicago Airport, and I've only seen two celebrities in Chicago Airport, Vince Vaughn, and I look to my right. And I go, Dennis fucking Rodman. So he's walking, and he's got this chick with him. And
That wasn't Carmen Electra?
no, and actually a black girl.
Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Okay. It must be back in the day.
No, right. And I remember I told you, again, what's so crazy for me is I don't ever expect anybody to know who I am because I grew up watching these already established famous personalities, yourself, and others. So whenever I meet somebody and they go, man, I'm a fan of your work. I love you. I'm like, oh, shit, y'all, you know me? Right. I know I'm supposed to know you. So what I always look for is if there's a certain kind of eye contact we make, and you could tell in seconds, okay, this mother might know who I am.
Right.
So when I walked in and you showed me love and I was like, man, I'm a fan, and this first time I've really met you.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, shit, Byron Scott know who I am. So I'm looking to make eye contact with Dennis to see if maybe he goes, you the dude. But before I even did that, a little black kid ran up to him. And before he can get the words out, can I get a picture? Dennis pushed him aside and was like, no. And I immediately went into my Pac-Man shit. Because I knew. I said, if he did that to a kid, I got no shot. And as barely as I wanted to say, man, Dennis, I'm a fan. I love you, man. I was like, dude, he just shot down a toddler.
Wow.
You got no shot.
Yeah,
so I just watched him walk by and was enamored. But I was like, yo, that's Dennis Rodman, man. I got another question for you. And this is another one where I wage war.
Yes, sir.
The Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant against the 72-10 Bulls. Who wins that series? And before you answer, I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, and I'm being nice, I give the Warriors a game. I think it's a sweep, but I give them a game.
No, I give them 2.
But you, okay.
But I'm going with the Bulls.
Okay.
I give them 2. Because you look around at that Chicago Bull team and you look at that Golden State team, and this is always the question. Oh, who gonna guard Steph? Who gonna guard Clay? Who gonna guard? Okay, you do know they had 3 of the best defenders of all time.
The Bulls.
Yeah.
4 out of 5.
Yeah, in Michael Jordan,
Scottie Pippen, Ron Harper,
Dennis Rodman, and Ron Harper. So they're going to guard the shit out of them.
But here's what the the fans, the people that ain't never played will say. Man, who's stopping Steph with the threes and Clay with the threes?
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So I'm going to say Rod or MJ is guarding Steph.
Right.
Rod or MJ is guarding Clay.
Right.
Kevin Durant, Scottie Pippen got you.
Now, he's not stopping a Kevin Durant.
He's not stopping him, but he going to make it hard.
He going to give
He gonna
Kevin,
make it
KD,
hard.
the migraine he got
He gonna make
in
it
Detroit.
because again, Scotty 6'7", 6'8",
Right.
long.
Right.
Kevin 6'11", really.
Right.
He ain't gonna stop him, but he gonna be right there on every shot.
Okay.
And he gonna be in his ass to make him put it on the floor. He not gonna give him open shots.
And Dennis Rodman will literally be in Draymond's ass.
Oh yeah.
Literally, actually be in it.
Again, that's a carbon copy.
Right.
Those are two.
Right.
You got two great defenders.
Yes.
Draymond's a great defender.
Right.
Draymond handles the ball and initiates offense. Obviously, that's not Dennis's forte. But rebounding and defending, Chicago beats them in 5-6.
And then I would throw in, and tell me if I'm wrong, but you got 2 7-footers who can shoot from the perimeter, and Longley and Whittington.
Yeah.
And then you still got to almost worry about Steve Kerr with the threes. And
No,
Bush.
you don't almost have to. You have to.
Okay.
Steve
Okay.
Kerr, to this day, has the best percentage all time in NBA history from three.
Here, let me reel these off, and you just say yes or no. We ain't got to get into an explanation.
Okay.
Because this is where people will go, this is your old head, old man,
Versus
get off
new-
my porch.
here we go with that shit. Okay.
Honestly,
Yes.
the KD Warriors, and I think all these teams will beat them. You just say yes or no. Magic Kareem Lakers.
Yes.
Penny Shaq Magic.
That's going to be a close one.
So KD Warriors versus your Magic Kareem Lakers.
Lakers.
Penny Hardaway Shaq Magic.
That's going to be a close one.
Bird McHale Paris Celtics.
Celtics.
Bad Boy Pistons.
Pistons.
Shaq Kobe Lakers.
Shaq, Kobe, Lakers.
And Hakeem Olajuwon Rockets.
That's going to be a close one.
But you give.
But I give the edge to Houston.
So am I crazy? Because I said that I don't see
give
those
the
Warriors
edge.
beating any of those teams.
When you talk about greatest of all time, you can't put the Warriors in those categories. That's just me. You can't put them
But
in
here's
the
where I think people get drunk in the sauce. The magnificence of Clay and Steph,
Mm-hmm.
and then throwing in KD in that mix. People get so drunk with Steph and Clay and now KD and Draymond and what that team did, where they just go, man, they beat everybody.
I'm with you. They get taken in by the sauce, like you said.
Right.
But you look at those teams that we just talked about.
Right.
They have no answer for. And Golden State, you got to remember, Golden State, in the years that they won championships, they were one of the top 5 defensive teams in the league.
Right.
They can't guard those teams we mentioned,
Okay.
especially inside. Can't guard them.
And do you say Bad Boys Pistons over them just from the physicality?
Well, physicality, and then you got Isaiah and Joe Dumars and Bill Lambert who could shoot it from 3, okay? Who could shoot it from 3? Vinny Microwave, Spider-Man, John Sally, Dennis Rock. They had a crew.
Why do you think, and I'm going to answer this, but I'm still going to ask you, because all of the older generation, us old heads go, these young kids didn't see these guys play.
Right.
So that we might have just answered the question, but I'm going, why do so many kids from this generation, and even there's some old heads that say it,
Right.
they act like y'all didn't exist.
I know.
They act like y'all wasn't potent.
Aries, they got to go back, like you said. And the beauty of today's game is you can go back and look at all this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can go back on YouTube and all this. You got so many things that you can go back and look at these games. We don't have that type of luxury of going back and looking at Bill Russell and the Celtics way back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They have the luxury of being able to look
But
back.
they got the homework and don't do it.
They don't do it. So in their minds, you watching Golden State now, oh, nobody could ever beat them. Please.
That's insane.
Our team, our Laker team, we said, because
Who's stopping Kareem?
Exactly. I said, you put Draymond Green on James Worthy, Kareem, or Magic, he will get 8 up. Me and Coop, we got Clay and we got Steph. Now, are we stopping, Steph? No, but we're going to make it hard as shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then after that, who y'all got?
Right.
who y'all got? You know what I'm saying?
Even Shaq was like, who's stopping me?
Yeah, who you got?
And then Kobe.
And even when they talked about the Lakers, Showtime against the Lakers, the cap is, I mean, Shaq and Kobe, we're like, all right, you got Shaq and Kobe. We got Kareem, Magic, James, me. Guys, come on now. Okay, let's get this shit right. Okay?
Right.
Y'all got Shaq and Kobe. Y'all won 3. But no, y'all ain't fucking with us. Simple as that.
Right.
Simple as that. But, I mean, you know what? We're going to end this, guys, because my boy Aries, man, this has been a pleasure, brother.
Man, I can't wait for round 2, baby.
We can have another season. We can have another episode. Let's say that. Season 5, because we're going to season 4 after this, because we got to no, I take that back. Season 4, because this is season 3. We're going to season 4. We're going to have my man back. We're going to talk some more about everything that he's doing and where he's going. We're going to talk a little bit more about basketball because, as you can tell, he's a basketball fan. And I want to even get into some other stuff. We talked about golf. He don't play golf. So we're going to talk about
I'm going to start learning because I heard Will Smith say the key to success in Hollywood is you got to get on the golf course. A lot of them big executives
if that's the case,
be on the golf course.
Okay, so we're going to get you out.
Please.
We got tournaments coming up and all that. We're going to get you out and play some golf. But, guys, I want to thank my boy, Aries
Spears, brother.
Aries, thank you so much, brother.
All love,
I appreciate it.
And if I could, I got to give out my podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Please check out my podcast. It's called Spears and Steinberg.
Yes.
It's available on all streaming platforms, or you could slide into my DMs on Instagram. I'll chop it up with you, send you the links. And please, people, start from episode 1 and go in order. It matters comedically. My cocaine is strong. It's not stepped on.
I was watching it a few days ago when I know he was coming on here, and I was like, this is cool. So I forgot to mention about the podcast, so I'm glad you brought that up. But, guys, again, my boy, Aries Spears, thank you again, my brother.
You got it, baby.
Appreciate you.
Man.
And this is another episode of Off The Dribble. I'm your host, Byron Scott. We are out.